Hello everyone, today I'm going to be showing you how to strip down the HFC M190. This is the full metal version gas blowback of the gun, and I took it apart originally because the selector switch here doesn't work too well. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit for you guys. Alright, so first thing you got to do is take the magazine out. Without that out, you're not actually going to be able to strip down the gun. Whoops. Next thing you need to do is you need to push down on this button right here. And then while doing that, you need to turn that down. And then once that's like that, you can just slide the top receiver off. And then you get the bottom receiver right here. We'll go to the bottom receiver second. With that off, you're going to have all this. In order to break it down, you need to push this in, just the spring part, and then you need to twist it from right here. Right here is where you twist it. And as you twist it, you can see, actually let me get a little close up for you right there. See this little part right here? Right there, that twists. And then once that's out, you just got to wiggle it around a little bit until you can pull it out. And as you can see, that part's out now. And make sure you have a little tray like this to put all the little tiny screws in. And next what we're going to do is we're going to take the actual main barrel out. In order to do that, you push down on here and you lift up on the inside. And once again, you just got to wiggle it out. And then once it's out, it's out. Next, you have this part right here. Now, when you open this up, be very careful because the selector switch is right here. And I don't know if you guys can see that, but that goes up and down quite a bit, and that little part will fall out. And what's even worse is inside that tiny little metal piece is a tiny plastic piece. So be very careful with that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to unscrew that piece. And we're going to put the screw in right there. And what you do is you take this piece, you slide it out like that. You got that out. You're going to flip it over and you'll see two little springs. These springs are very important. Do not lose them. We're going to put those in our little tray right here. And then you'll see you get the exposed nakeds of this. And you can actually remove this piece right here. And then you get the bare internals right here. Do a little bit of a close-up on there for you. And once again, you got this piece right here. Don't let it fall out. Or actually, I'm sorry. Now you can see it. Don't let it fall out because the last time I did that, it took me forever to find it. And that's basically how you strip down the entire top. Putting it back together is a little more tricky. First, of course, you put the black piece that we just took out back in. It just slides in. Next, you're going to want to put this one silverish piece back in. And make sure your selector switch area is not being blocked. And yes, I know I don't have those springs in yet, but believe it or not, it's easier to do it like the way I'm about to show you. As we screw that back in, make sure it's nice and tight. Not too tight, don't want to strip the threads. Now, I'm not sure if you guys are going to be able to see this. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. Depends if my camera decides to focus correctly. But there are little hooks right over here. What you're going to notice is there's little hooks right here. Those little hooks are where you put the spring in. What you do is you put the spring in down like that, and then you push it all the way down until it snaps back going in there. Now, I'm going to do that right here, but it's going to be really hard for you guys to see what I'm doing. So, I'll do it before and after. Now it may take a few tries, it still takes me a few tries as well, because getting it in is a pain in the butt. But once it's in, let me see now that it's in there. I don't know if you guys can see that very well, but it's in there. And then what we do is the same exact thing for the other one. Now don't get discouraged if it gets caught a few times, because it will take a few tries to get it in correctly. But once you get it in, you'll see on both sides that they're in. And it's very important that you have them in there correctly. Now that we got those back in, the next part we put together is the main barrel. And you just push that, it slides in, push it back, and then next we got this piece right here. It's easier if you push the spring back first and make sure this side is facing up. And then you push all that in, and then you're going to want to twist it 180 degrees if it's up, and then it'll go on that, and it'll lock in to this piece right here. Sorry, my camera keeps going back and forth like that. It's weird like that, but let me just to show you real quick. See, we have that back. See, this is how it's going to look. See how it's like that? Turn it 180 degrees so that it locks into the piece below it. And voila! You have just disassembled and reassembled the entire upper receiver. Go like that a few times to make sure that you got it in correctly. And then putting it back on the lower receiver is easy. For those of you who didn't just catch what I did there, you line it up with this right here. Let my camera focus. And you line these up with it. So basically, you simply line it up. Sorry, it's kind of hard to line it up from this angle. You line it up, and then you push it back a little bit. Then once it's back, you flip that back, and voila! You got it working again. And that's how you take apart the upper receiver. To take apart the lower receiver is relatively easy as well, but it's very easy to mess up with the lower receiver because there's a few small springs you really need to be careful about. And it took me forever to figure out exactly what to do with this one spring when it popped out at me. So, just keep in mind what I'm doing here. You're going to start on this side. Make sure you have a tray, like I said before, to put your small parts. And then, as you undo these, you will take off the hand guard. The hand guard is plastic, try not to ruin it. Now, one thing that really screwed me up is losing this little piece. See this little tiny silver thing? This is what makes your selector switch stay up. Let the camera focus. Is this part right here is your selector switch, this thing that's moving back and forth. And that metal piece, the very tiny thin wire-like thing, that will pop out. If you lose it, you completely screw up your selector switch. Now, this black part is the selector switch. If you want to take it out, you simply just pull it out. Now, because it's so frustrating to get it to work again, I'm not going to pull it out. But you get the basic idea. I'm not going to break it any further down than this because I don't really dare to venture that far. Excuse me. Sorry about that. And basically, that's how you do a regular strip from the bottom part. And I mean, I will post a link to this gun's manual. But since this is my first time ever breaking down a gas blowback, I don't feel like losing parts or messing it up any worse than it is. I mean, the gun works and everything, but the reason I took it apart is because it was actually broken to begin with. Putting the handrail or handguard back on is really simple. You just screw it back on. I was going to do the top one first because that's where that one piece that I told you about is. And if we screw that back on, you can see that everything's working fine. So that's basically how you do a field strip. Now, you can also take apart the magazine. I have not done this yet, nor do I intend to ever do it. The magazine works fine. I'm not going to mess with it. So that is how you assemble, disassemble, etc. Not necessarily in that order. The HFC Full Metal M190 Special Forces Gas Blowback Pistol. Thanks for watching. Hope it was informative, helpful, etc. Please rate, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, tell your friends, you know, make a comment, say thanks if this helped you. And I have a bunch of videos that I do like this about reviews, and I do a lot of reviews on a lot of random things. Most of the time it happens to be airsoft. So if you like airsoft, please subscribe, because every once in a while I get a new gun, and when I do get it, the first thing I do is make a review for you guys. So, as I said before, thanks for watching, and I really hope it helped.